Okay, material safety data sheets, MSDSs. Let's see, we refer to them quite often. So if somebody says, what is an MSDS? It's a material safety data sheet. Material safety data sheets is a detailed information bulletin prepared by the manufacturer or the importer of a chemical that describes the following: the physical and chemical properties, physical and health hazards, routes of exposure, precautions for safe handling and use, emergency and first aid procedure, control measures. Information on MSDS aids in the selection of safe products and helps prepare employees to respond effectively. When I'm looking at a product to purchase, I'll get an MSDS and look at it and see how harmful it is, and I really shoot for it to be as green as possible and not harmful at all if we can. It helps you guys to know, by reading MSDS, to know what kind of exposures you have and what kind of precautions to take to those. You should always read MSDS before using a chemical. So if we introduce a new chemical, we put it in your closets for the custodians or for maintenance or painting, whatever. A new chemical comes along. Before you use that, even if you think you know all about it, including like whiteout and stuff like that, you need to read the MSDS before you use that chemical. OSHA requirements. OSHA requires that we keep and maintain a complete, accurate MSDS for each chemical that we use on campus. So it doesn't matter what it is, from the whiteout to the magic eraser to paint to whatever, furniture polish. We keep an MSDS on that. We try to update those yearly. I know the custodial staff, we update ours usually, and I think Laurel, you guys update them yearly as well, right? They're not required to be physically attached to the shipment when they come, but they are required to come either through email or mail, or if you get a product that doesn't have one, you need to get a hold of that vendor and get them to get you an MSDS before using the chemical so you can read it. If you're unable to get a hold of the MSDS, you need to send a complaint to OSHA and to the manufacturer that you're not able to get the MSDS, and then don't use a product until you have it. Shelf it, put it up where nobody can get a hold of it by mistake. We're required to have material safety data sheets available for every single hazard chemical or substance we use or encounter as part of your jobs. So it's our responsibility to make sure that information is available and up to date. Material safety data sheets for FPO are located in the hallway of the North FPO building. Over by Paul's office and Tom's office, that general copy area, there's yellow binders, and they're listed in alphabetical order by product. In the front of every binder is a list of those products. So you shouldn't have any trouble finding them. Custodials have MSDS sheets in every single building in a custodial closet. So there might be multiple custodial closets in a building, like Washington Hall has 7 custodial closets. There's only one, and it's on the first floor. And they're there for anybody's use. So if, maintenance or event services or whatever are needing to know what MSDS is on one of our chemicals, it's in there, and should be easy to find. Employers, which is, we must make sure every employee has a basic knowledge of how to find information on MSDSs and how to properly make use of that information. Part of our hiring training is to review MSDSs and get you guys familiar with the MSDSs. May not know what every single product is, but basically I want to make sure, at least with my staff, and I'm sure Brian and Glenn do the same, we want to make sure you guys know what an MSDS is, how to find the information you need, what kind of equipment to use, PPE to use in case of when you're using the chemical, what to do in an emergency. So things like that, what's in that chemical. So we want to make sure you guys are good to go on an MSDS. So if you ever have any questions or you didn't get introduced or explained to what MSDS is, make sure you go to your supervisor and say, hey, I have no idea what a MSDS is or how to read one, and I'm sure they'd be glad to get you that information. What information is provided on an MSDS? There's 8 basic things that have to be required, but there also can be more. Company information, what's the company that makes it? Lots of times a product is made by a smaller company. You're thinking it's Kraft or General Mills, but actually it's some little company that's owned by them. So the company name, their address, phone number, and then an emergency phone number is also on there. The hazard ingredients, what is hazard about this product is listed on there. Physical data, it's going to explain the components or whatever of it. Fire and explosive data, how flammable is this product? Can it explode in certain areas? Again, I try really hard to stay away from those type of products. Health hazard data, how hazard is this to your health? Reactive data, spill and leak procedures, how to clean it up. If you have a spill, what do we do to clean it up? Special protection information, PPE. Do I wear goggles? Do I wear gloves? What do I need to do when I use this chemical to protect myself? Special precautions. So those are some of the things, but there also can be more listed on there than those. OSHA specifies the information to be included on MSDS, but does not prescribe the precise format for MSDS, which kind of drives me crazy. Because most of our MSDS, you look at it, and on the first page of the MSDS might be the emergency contact information. On another MSDS, it might be at the very back of the MSDS. So I wish OSHA would say, here's a form, use it, but they don't. So that said, just know that when you pick up MSDS, the information, you need to read through it, and because information is not going to be in the same order for every MSDS. However, it must be in English, and it must include at least the following. Chemical identification, I touched on that. Must tell you about the chemical, the common names, and address and emergency phone number in case of needing to contact them. The hazard ingredients must contain the hazard ingredients mixture that has been tested as a whole to determine its hazards. The chemical and common names of the ingredients that are associated with the hazards, and the common name of the mixture must be listed. So it must be listed on that. If it's not, then it's not a good MSDS. And I'll let you, I'm not going to read all through that, but how it's tested, all the common names should be on there. So some MSDSs might be kind of lengthy. Physical and chemical characters. The physical and chemical characters of the hazardous substance must be listed. These include items such as boiling and freezing points, density, vapor, pressure, specific gravity, solubility, volatility, and the product's general appearance and odor. So you should be able to pick up MSDS, and it's going to tell you what it should smell like. So if it says it should smell like baby powder and it doesn't smell like baby powder, then you might want to question that there's something wrong with that chemical. Maybe didn't it get mixed right? Or be smelling it. Well, and good question. Smell it with caution. I guess if you spray it, let me backtrack that. Good, Nathan. If you spray it and you read the MSDS and it said it should have smelled like baby powder, but it doesn't smell like baby powder, it smells like sauerkraut, you probably have a bad bottle and you don't want to use it. Get with your supervisor and say, I don't think this is right. Anytime you have any question about a product you're using that you don't think it is right, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, it's not smelling like it's supposed to smell, it's not acting like it's supposed to act, stop using it, get with your supervisor, and find out what's going on, okay? Could be just that the spray bottle is not working correctly, but in doubt, just stop using it. Fire and explosive hazard data. The compound's potential for fire and explosion must be described. Also, the fire hazards of the chemical and the conditions under which it could ignite or explode must be identified. So, recommended extinguishing agents and firefighting methods must be described. So, it's going to tell you what kind of fire extinguisher you're going to need to put this particular chemical out. If it did catch on fire, it was explosive. It's going to tell you the conditions on which it could ignite or explode. And so you want to make sure you're not using it in those conditions or you're storing it in those conditions. If it says not to store it above 90 degrees, then you want to make sure you got it stored someplace, or the other way around. If it says not to store below 32 degrees because freezing can cause it to explode, you want to make sure you got it stored somewhere where it's not going to freeze. Reactivity. This section presents information about other chemicals and substances which will react. So in other words, and we pretty much have in the custodial area, we don't mix chemicals. So if a chemical, we don't mix general purpose cleaner with glass cleaner. But it will tell you, if you do mix those, which you shouldn't be doing, what's going to happen. What's the hazards going to happen if you do that. Health hazards. It's going to tell you what health hazards there are, the acute and chronic health hazards of the chemical, together with any signs and symptoms of exposure, must be listed. So it's going to tell you that if you smell this product, that this could happen. These are the health hazards. And if you start having these symptoms, you need to get help. There again, don't smell the products, but in addition, any medical conditions that are aggravated by exposure to the compound must be included. So it's going to tell you that maybe using this product, if you have asthma, maybe using this product could cause your asthma to flare up, things like that. The route of entry section describes the primary pathway by which the chemical enters the body. There are 3 principal routes of entry: inhalation, skin, and indigestion. Again, we shouldn't be smelling it. We shouldn't be drinking it. The most common probably way it could get on you is your skin. You should be wearing your gloves, but if for some reason it does get on you, it's going to tell you what you need to do to keep you from having a rash or some kind of situation from that. The section of the MSDS supplies the OSHA, PEL, the HCGIH, TLV, and other exposure levels used or recommended by the chemical manufacturer. So there again, it's going to tell you if it's a cancer-causing agent. It's just going to give you all the information of any kind of health hazard that comes with this chemical. So that's really important. So you want to make sure you're reading that before you're using the product. Precautions for safe handling and use. The standard requires the preparer to describe the precautions for safe handling and use. These include recommending industrial hygiene practices, precautions to be taken during repair and maintenance of equipment, and procedures for cleaning up spills and leaks. Some manufacturers also use this section to include useful information not specifically required by the standard, such as EPA, waste disposal methods, and state and local requirements. There again, how to handle and use this product safely. Control measures. The standard requires the preparer of the MSDS to list any general applicable control measures. These include engineering controls, safe handling procedures, and personal protection equipment. Information often included on the use of goggles, gloves, bodysuits, respirators, and face shields. There's your PPE. So it's going to tell you what PPE you need to use on this product. Believe what it says. Don't say, oh, I don't need to wear gloves, this product. I'm polishing furniture. What could be in this product? Take the word of the MSDS and use your PPE. Uh-oh. Oh, I had another slide. Wait a minute. Okay, I guess that is. I guess I didn't get that other slide anyway. But just on the MSDS, just a really important thing to know is to read them before you use a product, to know where the MSDS is located, that you can get to it quickly. If for some reason somebody does have a problem with a product and they need help, help them. Get the MSDS out, read what you should be doing. If they get it in their eyes, are they supposed to go to eye wash it out? If they drink it for some reason, are they supposed to drink something behind it? Do you need to induce vomiting? Do you need to do nothing and just call 911? Get that MSDS, read that information, and then call for help on your radio. Get a supervisor or director involved to help you with this, and if necessary, campus police to get an ambulance here. Any questions? No? Okay. You want to give the quiz? Or you want me to give the quiz? Okay. Everybody got a quiz? Material safety data sheet quiz. What does MSDS stand for? Material safety data sheet. Which of the following will be found on an MSDS? D, all above, right. Spill and leak procedures, health hazard information, special protection information. All those things are listed. Section 2 of an MSDS will have information about what? B, hazard ingredients. Material safety data sheets must be readily available for employees' review at all times the employee is in the workplace. Where are the MSDS located in FPO? Okay, now I will say MAB keeps the old MSDSs, so they're not necessarily up to date, so that's not the place you want to go to get one. But they are there, so somebody might have seen them sitting in that bookshelf, but they are not the latest and greatest. They're more like the archived ones. So FPO North Building is the place to go. In case of an emergency involving a chemical emergency, telephone number can be found in which section of the MSDS? Section 1. The MSDS tells about a chemical hazard and MSDS tells about a blank and how to protect yourself from them. Sorry, I got the answer. Hazards. You should read the MSDS blank. You use a chemical. Correct. And just, you notice the sections are on there, section 2 and section 1. So the section apart is going to be always that section. So section 1 is always going to give you that information about company and phone number. However, it may not be on the front of the page. It may be on the back of the page. Does that make sense? So the sections are always the sections, but how they're in order can be different. And that's all I got.